So when I get ready to play the guitar, I usually make an attempt to tune up, and I'll try a chord. Notice how that E sounds a little sharp. The third string. If I press harder, if I on that first fret with my index, sounds kind of sour, doesn't it? So sometimes you got to squeeze a little softer with your fretting hand. Don't squeeze too hard. Then a G, D, A, C, maybe a G bar chord. So if bar chords and open chords sound okay, I think we're ready to go. So I'm playing through a Marshall Studio 15. It's probably 1986. Those were made in England. It's a 15-watt tube amp with master volume. I think it's got 6 V6 outputs, tubes, and it's just a little different sound in Marshall. So with this Les Paul, I've got the volume kind of rolled down to a clean sound, but my gain is maxed out on the amp. So if I roll the volume up, it will get pretty hot. And again, I just roll down to clean up my sound. Like a reasonable rhythm part. All right, so I tried to post a video this morning, and my camera cut a lot of the video out, and I posted it, and I took it down. So instead of like 7 minutes, it was only 30 seconds. But this is what I was working on, is just your A power chord and doing the like the A5 to A6. So in A5, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's E. That makes A5. And then the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. F sharp. That's a 6. So I'm going from A5 to A6. Pretty basic stuff, but a lot of my students might need to come back to that. So that's why I'm talking about it. So notice my index finger staying planted at 2nd fret. Often, first thing I watch my students for is if they do this. Yeah, you don't want to pick that up. So lock into that, which really feels good. You know, if you're walking out on stage to play a set and you're a little keyed up, a little nervous, you know, that's just where my finger goes. So I'm getting ready to play. Like, what's next? What's going to happen? That's security for me. So that's something I want my students to feel. Index finger just staying there, 2nd fret. It fixes all kinds of stuff. And the problem is, you've been taught to play first finger, 1st fret, 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 3rd finger, 3rd fret, pinky, 4th fret. Which is important if you're playing like in the key of C. Then you need your index down there in 1st fret. But since we're rocking an A, you have to change your thinking to index planted right there. All right. So the beat, you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so you're playing on you're accenting the 2 and the 4. 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. I'm going to turn on my metronome and have a little fun with that. What should we do? Let's go about, how about 108. Here it comes. 1 and 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 2. Could drive people nuts. All right, so that'd be your 1 chord in the key of A. Then usually you change chords. You go to the 4 chord, which is D. 4 means this. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C sharp, D. So we make a D chord. Again, D is the 4 chord in the key of A. So for this, the fingering I'm going to recommend is index and middle. Just like, yeah, not ring, index and middle. Index and middle. So you've got a D, A, and a D. And then we're going to, on the beat, add your ring finger to the 4th fret, 3rd string. So in tablature language, that'd be a 0, 2, and a 3. A D chord. And you're going to add your ring finger on the beat. And let's go 108 from the A. Go. 2, 4 bars. Then the D. Ready, switch. Back to A. Then what? You go down to the 5 chord. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is E. The 5 chord is E. In the key, from the key of A, we're just doing an A major scale. And then we're looking for the E, which again, we're going to take our index finger, creep it over. You can press down on 3 or 2 strings. Your pick is going to hit 3 strings. And then we'll add that beat. All right, that's what happens after the A, D, A, go down to E. I'll do the whole thing. 2, ready, go. Play along if you want. Here comes the D. Back to A. You just gotta feel that. Here comes the E. Ready, jump. Back to A. Let's do it again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the D. 7, 8, 9. Here's the E. 10, 11, and the A. 12. Did I mess up my measure count? Well, I think I played it okay. So I was trying to count bars there. So that's the form that I'm just kind of beaten into the ground. I've got some students that need to know this for special projects, and they're working pretty hard to get this down. They're going to some workshops, and they need to know this. So that's kind of why I'm really going crazy on the 12-bar blues. And I'll probably jump back to the key of E soon enough. What else is going on? So I want to make sure everybody's got your basic rock and roll rhythm stuff. And, you know, if this is boring, one guy did tell me he was bored, and another guy told me to F off about this. So good. Hey, man, I understand. That's honesty is good. I can take it. But, you know, if you're bored, show me this in all 12 keys, you know, A flat or E flat. That's something you could think about. And you should be able to, you know, if you can't do that, I don't know. I think that's pretty important to know this in all 12 keys. And then you want to be able to solo in all 12 keys or have variations of riffs and chords. And, you know, then we can start changing the chord progression and add more chords if we need to. But a lot of times, reducing it down to the fewest chords possible. Really, when you're playing in a loud bar, a lot of those little special magical details are obliterated by people talking, people yelling, people drunk, the sound bouncing around in hard objects. Yeah, it could work. Maybe if you're in a detailed theater. I like intricate music, but just stomping straight up rock and roll cuts through the air much better, much more simple, much easier to play. So that's why I'm selling this simple rock and roll business. But yeah, if you're bored, move it down to G and do 12 bar blues, and then see if you can solo over it. Maybe record a chord progression like I'm doing, or do one that you think is interesting, and overdub some lead guitar on top of it. See how that goes. That's fun. That's what I like to do. I'm kind of really anxious to get back to recording, but so like I did a video today about like lead guitar ripping over this kind of a chord progression, and it was pretty fun. It was like wow. I was a little bit tense there. Sometimes you got to tense up a little bit in your mind. So that was the classic bend. I do have a question I asked my students. Show me the most common bend in A blues scale, or A rock and roll, or A minor pentatonic, or heavy metal, or anything, just rock and roll, key of A, blues. I don't care what you call it. Rockabilly, surf, I don't know. Show me the most common bend. And that's the one I use, but I get some different answers, they think hard, and they no, some people got it, no problem. But that's just a preference for me. The most common bend is 3rd string, 7th fret, D, bending up to E. That's the first bend that I use in this. So I go. So it's got the bend and the 8th notes, da 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 da, which is your index flat at the 5th fret. And that count will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So that's you might reference something like Little Richard or Jerry Lee Lewis's piano playing when they go up really high and do those steady 8th notes, just driving. Hypnotic is just like getting drilled in the forehead, man. It's just like a water cannon or something, or a fire hose of just energy, like a laser beam of energy cutting through the air. Again, if you're playing in a loud bar, everybody's talking, they might hear your solo, but this is going to cut through the air, going to cut through the crowd. I'm not saying this is the only solo you should play, but this is a good one to know, and you can expand on it. So I'm going to try that. Well, let me explain the second part of it. Then I do the slide thing. Kind of reminds me of a few songs like Talk Dirty to Me by Poison. That kind of grinding. Or Cheap Trick has a song. I can't remember, but it's got the more and more I'm thinking about love. Or Eddie Cochran, Summertime Blues. Or the Ramones. Or Chuck Berry. So it's got that vibe, that kind of scooping, sliding thing. And what I have to tell people, be careful of this. Don't reverse it. It's directional, so it's going from low to high on that. So you want to avoid, I think. So you have to stop it after 1, 2, 3, stop. You can stop it with your right hand, but usually it's the fretting hand that just relaxes, I think. I also mute with the right hand, the picking hand. So I'm ready to mute at any time. with my thumbs hanging over the top to mute the fat strings. These mute these strings. These mute strings here. Muting is a big part of the deal. You don't want your strings gacking out on you. You want them kind of controlled. Sometimes I mute too much, but that's what I'm doing. So you hear the slide up every time, but you don't hear it go backwards. So I'm combining that with this. And that actually puts a lot of hot pressure on your finger. So this flat part of your finger, I might have some calluses on there because I do this kind of stuff in Surf Zombies a lot, those kind of licks. Not exactly like this, but I probably should. So yeah, you're going to feel a little heat on the underside of your index finger because you're probably pressing pretty hard and you're kind of getting some friction there with the slides. All right, so if I do it in the key of A and do the three chords, it's A at the 5th fret and 7th fret. The D, of course, is 10th fret and 12 for the D, and the E is 12th fret and 14. If I want to go gonzo, I'm going to go super high up to the 17 for the last A. I might do a whole verse of that. Who knows? I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something here in a little bit. But I'm going to try to end up on 17 and 19 for the final A. And you want to, so I might try to combine some rhythm guitar with the lead guitar too. So these are just ideas floating in my head. I'm kind of loose with it. It doesn't, no matter what we do, it's going to be kind of fun here. And you can sure grab your guitar and play along and let me know how it goes. I'm going to try 155 beats a minute. I'm going to really go for it. 1, 2, ready, go. Oops. So the point is you should be able to go from this simple lead guitar stuff, transition to rhythm and back to the leads. And I'm glad I stumbled on that high A the first time. I just blanked out. I wasn't present. I was thinking something else. And that's a good point to remember when you're playing. You got to actually be concentrating on the next move. And I really wasn't thinking. I just blacked out for a second. And that's something I'm working on, is being more present on every note I play. So yes, the idea is, and you can modify this. This is just mostly a foundation just to get people moving and give you some success with something simple. And you can modify it. I wonder what we could do, like a geez. You can just start changing it up as you want. But that was the idea for this little podcast here today, or live stream, is just putting a few things together. I hope you're having fun with that. And let me know if this was helpful, or if you like practicing this stuff. I think it's cool. All right, I'm going to end the stream, but I got a student coming here in a minute, so get ready for that, and just keep practicing. See you later.